4th Congressional District and the Associated Kansas Senate, House, and State Board of Education districts to order. First of all, I want to say welcome. I want to thank the cities and legislators in El Dorado and Newton for establishing an in-person locations for this public input listening session. I also want to thank those participating from at-large locations. If we will, please rise for a prayer and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Senator Cluse will start off with the prayer.
Thank you, Senator. Heavenly Father, we thank you for tonight and all those that are joining in with us as we endeavor to move forward in this great task. We ask your blessing upon it. We thank you for just the whole Thanksgiving season, and we pray for a refreshment on all our legislators and for all the folks that are joining us tonight. Bless them as well. In your precious name, amen.
Thank you, Senator Cluse. And now I'm going to turn to the House Chair, Croft, to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty.
Thank you, Chairman Croft. The agenda for this evening tonight is welcome comments from the chair and ranking members, review the procedures for tonight's meeting, update from the Kansas Legislative Research Department, public input from in-person locations, and then at-large sites that requested to provide input. As part of the welcome, I'd like to take a few minutes to introduce the leaders of the Senate and House Committee. I'm Rick Wilburn, Chairman of the Senate Redistricting Committee. The Redistricting Vice Chair is Senator President Ty Masterson. The Redistricting Ranking Member is Senator Dinah Sykes. And on the House side, the Redistricting Chair is Chris Croft. The Redistricting Vice Chair is Brad Ralph. Redistricting Ranking Member is Representative Tom Burrows. And I'd like to acknowledge also the Speaker of the House, Representative Ron Reichman Jr., and the House Minority Leader, Tom Sawyer. I want to thank you again for being here today. We're excited for this opportunity to hear from the public on specific items we should consider when we start drawing maps. This is the third session of 4 and the second round of listening events. Today, I will focus on the 4th District Congressional District. We received some very relevant information to help us with the maps. And now I'll call on Senator Dinah Sykes, the ranking member of the Senate, to provide additional welcome comments.
Thank you, Senator Wilburn. Thank you all for being here with us today. This is one of what I hope is many conversations that we have on this redistricting process. Your voice is so important. We need to know about your communities, and we want you to be able to pick your legislators, not your legislators picking your voters. So thank you for participating. We appreciate your dialogue with us, and if we can be of assistance after this, I hope you will be in our offices, be in committees, because you need to keep us accountable, making sure that we are drawing good maps that represent Kansas. So thank you, Senator Wilburn.
Thank you, Senator Sykes. Again, can't overemphasize enough that we want to hear from you, the public, about your community, what we should consider when drawing the lines, how things have changed over the last several years, issues created by having the courts draw the lines like they did in 2012. We are looking forward to becoming more familiar with your communities. As a note, we have asked that state elected officials to provide their comments at a later time so we can focus on what the public has to say. Thank you all for those that have submitted input through the centralized redistricting email, which is at redistricting@klrd.ks.gov. All members and the public can see that input. And as we've mentioned before in round 1, we are keeping that email open so anyone may submit input 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I want to review the procedures for tonight's events. There was an online sign up for all of those that requested an opportunity to speak remotely. Each of you received a personal logon for WebEx. We had practice and test opportunities for those that were uncomfortable with the process, and we recorded the event if it's available on the Legislative Redistricting website. We have asked everyone that is dialed in to the session to display their name or location when logged in. If you have issues, please call 785-291-0520, and our IT department staff will attempt to resolve the issue. This session, as with all the other previous sessions, are recorded for reviewing and reviewing at a later date. I'll have a call on the next person to speak, and I'll also mention the speaker to follow so that you can be prepared. We will start with the in-person locations that proceed to recognize persons speaking remotely. If the speaker is more comfortable speaking in another language, it would ensure the speaker's thoughts are more accurately portrayed. We encourage the speaker to use that language. We will have the comments transcribed and translated following tonight's meeting and provide the committee members, the legislative body, and the public. We are utilizing closed captioning. We also have 2 sign language interpreters, Allison Guile and Jeffrey Dunlap. You can focus your screen on them if you so desire. Robin from IT will take you through the process, and I'll now allow Robin to give instructions.
If you would go to the layout in the top right of your screen, change that so that you actually have the grid at the top of the screen. You would drag your interpreter down to your box, and you want to just pin them right there. So once you pin the interpreter there, you would be able to see them the entire time.
Thank you, Robin. And again, if you have any problems, let us know. We'll try to help you out. As the speakers begin, we will start a timer. The speakers will have approximately 7 minutes to provide their input. We have a timer that will show on the screen. Out of courtesy to other speakers, we request that you honor the process and end the remarks on time. Thank you for your patience as we clarified the process. Note on the agenda, next on the agenda is Jordan for the Kansas Legislative Research Department, who will provide an overview of the census data for the Kansas 4th Congressional District. Jordan, please help us out here.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Jordan Milholland, Kansas Legislative Research Department. Are you all able to hear me okay?
Yes.
Great, thank you. If you'll give me just 1 second, I'll share my presentation and then we'll get started. Thank you again, Mr. Chair. Again, my name is Jordan Milholland. I'm a senior research analyst with the Kansas Legislative Research Department. This evening, I'll be sharing some information about the population changes in the 4th Congressional District between 2010 and 2020. To start off with, I wanted to let everyone know that the comments submitted for tonight's meeting are available on the Kansas Legislature website. You can follow either of these links below. If you visit either the Senate Committee on Redistricting or the House Committee on Redistricting, you can select tonight's date, and then you can see those documents. So I wanted to start off with showing everyone a current map of the congressional districts. So you can see here, the 4th Congressional District, as you all know, is in the south central part of the state. It is the tan filled in counties and districts located here. In the 4th District, there are several counties: Barber, Butler, Chautauqua, Comanche, Cowley, Edwards, Elk, Greenwood, Harper, Harvey, Kingman, Kiowa, Pawnee, which is a partial part of the district. Part of Pawnee is in another district. Pratt, Sedgwick, Stafford, and Sumner counties. Back in 2010, the state population was 2,853,118 persons. Divided by 4, the ideal congressional district population was 713,280. And at that point in time, when the 4th district was drawn, there was 713,287 persons in the district, which is a deviation of 7 persons total, which is less than 1%. In 2020, the census, of course, had its census day on April 1st. At that point in time, the state population was counted, and we then received that information earlier this year for apportionment purposes. So what that means is Kansas gained 84,762 persons, and the new state population is 2,937,880. And as I've noted here, Kansas did not gain or lose a congressional seat. Taking that new population and dividing it by 4 results in an ideal congressional district population of 734,470 persons. The current 4th district population is 731,814. So while the district gained 18,527 people over the past decade, it is 2,656 people short of that new ideal population. And that's a 0.36% deviation currently. On this slide, I've listed the current state of each of those 4 districts. Congressional District 1 lost 12,505 persons in the past decade. Congressional District 2 lost 265 persons since 2010. Congressional District 3 is up 78,999. And then, as I stated, Congressional District 4 is up 18,527 people since 2010. This map shows the map of the current House districts in the Kansas House. This is also a color-coded map to show population changes. So as you'll note, the orange districts mean that the district has lost population since 2010. The green districts have gained since 2010. And the shade of the color also denotes the amount of gain or loss. We've taken this map and then overlaid the current congressional districts lines over that, so you could see how these House districts line up with the current congressional districts. This map is also available on the Kansas Legislative Research website, which I'll share the URL a little bit later in the presentation. This map, the population change map, has a table at the bottom that shows the gain or loss in each of the House of Representative districts. Next, I've got a Senate map, which is a similar concept. Again, we've overlain the current congressional district lines on top of this map. And it also shows the population gain or loss in those Kansas Senate districts. And again, this Senate district map is available on the Kansas Legislative Research website. And finally, I wanted to let you know too that we also have a county map on the Kansas Legislative Research website that shows the gain or loss by county as well. So as I've mentioned, there's quite a few resources available on our webpage. In addition to those maps that I've mentioned, we also have reports for the 2012 plans. You can visit our website, www.ks.gov. On the left-hand side, you'll find a redistricting link that takes you to the redistricting page. You can see here we've included a snip of what the plan from 2012 looked like, and then some of the accompanying maps and reports that are available. I wanted to note for everyone that when maps are submitted to committee during this next legislative session, those maps go through a technical review process, which produces these reports and maps. We'll be hosting those on the KLRD website. So anytime a map is going to be discussed in committee, it's a public map. These reports will be available on our website. You can go and look at those before the hearing or during the hearing or after the hearing. Finally, I wanted to highlight the ways you could contact KLRD. So you can visit our office at room 68 West on the State House. You can also call us at 785-296-3181. You can email staff with questions at redistricting@klrd.ks.gov. And I've also listed the specific emails for each of our redistricting team members. Mr. Chair, that concludes my presentation. I'll go ahead and hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Jordan. Again, you've done this many times, and we appreciate your expertise. It's now time to hear from you folks. The first speaker I have on my list is LaWanda DeShazer, League of Women Voters, Wichita Metro Area. LaWanda, are you here? LaWanda, are you online?
I'm in Newton. Can you hear
Very
me?
good. Good for you. Well, please identify yourself and you may proceed.
I am LaWanda DeShazer out of Wichita, Kansas, obviously Congressional District 4. And I just want to thank the committee for the work that you have been doing and the work that you will be doing in the future. So on behalf of the League of Women Voters, Wichita Metro, I am speaking to you today to advocate for fair and voter-centric maps to be adopted in the redistricting process for the state of Kansas. Members of the League of Women Voters find themselves in various communities in the Wichita metro area and throughout the state of Kansas. We are engaged voters who are empowered and educated and understand that redistricting process can have a drastic effect on the future of all Kansans. I implore this committee and everyone involved in the process to consider the following standards on any redistricting plan. A plan should require substantially equal population, geographic proximity, and effective representation of racial and linguistic minorities. As we seek to understand communities of interest that may need to be considered, there are many factors to consider in this process, including but not limited to economic status, food deserts, areas of varying development, availability of affordable housing, etc. These are in particular areas that would affect the African American communities. By keeping communities of interest together, voters are empowered to be able to know and vote for representatives that understand the challenges that their community faces each day. This specific example is not only a picture of what a community of interest could look like, but is also a reminder that, according to the Supreme Court decision in Georgia versus Ashcroft 2003, the courts need to consider the impact of redistricting plans on a substantive as well as descriptive representation. As a nonpartisan organization, the League of Women Voters also seeks to remind this body that any redistricting plan should explicitly reject protection or exclusion of incumbents as well as preferential treatment for a political party. It should be also ensured that a proposed or approved plan will be enforceable in court. It is our passion to empower voters and defend democracy, including through processes like redistricting. The redistricting committee's decisions will have implications for voters for decades to come, and it is important to make this process as transparent and thoughtful as possible. Thank you for your time, your effort, and your consideration.
Thank you very much, LaWanda. I noticed there's a nice group there at Newton. I think we'll go ahead and go to the ones that have signed up, and then I'll return to give the people at Newton if there's anyone else that would like to speak. The next person on the list is Jane Bynes, a League of Women Voters, Wichita Metro area. Jane, are you online? Jane Bynes?
Yes, I am.
Well, good for you. Welcome to the committee. Can you hear me?
Thank you.
Ms. Bynes, you're welcome to proceed.
My name is Jane Burns, and I think we have sound worked out. I also, we're almost ready.
Okay. We get all set there and we'll.
You can hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Thank you. So my name is Jane Burns. I also am on behalf of the League of Women Voters, Wichita Metro, advocating for fair and voter-centric maps to be adopted in the redistricting process for the state of Kansas.
where the League of Women Voters are in various communities throughout Wichita, the metro area, and the state of Kansas. We are engaged voters who are empowered and educated and understand that the redistricting process can have a drastic effect on the future of all Kansans. We implore this committee and everyone involved with the redistricting process to consider the following. A plan should require substantially equal population, geographic continuity, and effective representation of racial and linguistic minorities. By keeping communities of interest together, voters are empowered to know and to vote for representatives that understand their community and the challenges they face each day. Neighbors who know each other and have each other's interests in mind enable safety and quality of life. I personally have seen the effects of keeping communities together. I initiated and built the large neighborhood association where I lived in Wichita for 11 years. And when I moved 6 years ago, I joined a long existing neighborhood association. My neighborhood is tight and responsive. For example, for our May 2021 cleanup, we had 37 volunteers. Our neighborhood association boundaries are major roadways in Wichita, Douglas, and Kellogg, Hillside, and I-135. They're major roadways that do not divide our neighborhood. I have a whole new respect for neighborliness. I admire them due to their profound enhancement of both safety and quality of life. In my area, moving boundaries would divide neighbors and dilute neighborliness, and have an incredibly negative effect on our community and the responsiveness of our district. So the League of Women Voters, Wichita Metro, wants to explicitly recommend rejecting protection or exclusion of incumbents and preferential treatment for any political party. It's our passion to empower voters and defend democracy through processes like this, like redistricting. Thank you for your time, your effort, and your consideration. Thank you.
Ms. Burns, we appreciate your input greatly. We have another person, Jim Benage of Bel Air, has submitted a written public comment. And I noticed on the screen that Newton had quite a few people in the audience. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to step forward and say a few words? We're sure open to that. Not seeing anyone coming forth, or is there anyone else at large that would like to have some input? Seeing none, I guess I just want to take time to thank each and every one of you for the specifics you provided. You provided valuable information that will assist us in redrawing the maps. If you think something that was not addressed, you have 3 ways to submit comments: by email to redistricting@klrd.ks.gov, or by mailing your comments to KLRD 300 Southwest 10th Street, room 68 West, Topeka, Kansas 66612, or go to the KLRD website, kansaslegislativeresearch.org, and follow the instructions for submitting comments. There is no cutoff date for the public to send comments. We will return to session in January in accordance with our normal operating procedures. We will hold hearings, which are another opportunity to provide comment. Thank you again to the cities of El Dorado, Newton, and the legislators in those areas for hosting the in-person experiences. Thank you again to the audience and the committee members for participating in this process. Our next listening event is Tuesday, November 30th. We will have in-person experiences in Bonner Springs and Stillwell, at-large opportunities as well. We will focus on the 3rd Congressional District and the associated Kansas Senate, House, and State Board of Education districts. Again, thank you for all those that helped and for all those that participated. Have a good night. We are adjourned.